A couple of weeks ago, I made a video about how Obsidian can completely transform your relationship with your file folder system on your computer and how you keep track of all sorts of different types of files by being able to wrap your files in a lot of metadata and information about how you would remember how to find that file beyond just the file name or its location on your computer. Because if you're like me, you remember a lot of stuff about what you need to find and you don't care what it's called because it's probably some version of final version 6.38, right? Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. So if you haven't watched that video, go watch that one and then you'll have the context to fully appreciate just how amazing what it is that we're going to be going over, because the fantastic part of that video and the way of using it does completely transform your relationship with your computer. But then down in the comments, people were like, hey, I like this, but this doubles up how, like, the file still lives over here and in my vault, so now it's going to double up. So what do you do about that? And I was like, you go delete it, I guess. I don't know. I just And then they were like, well, what if I move it? And I was like, well, if you move it, the link breaks, so don't move it. And they're like, yeah, but I do. And I was like, then don't. But what if the file doesn't even have to get into your Obsidian vault? How do you still find it? And then if you figure that out, but you move the file, then everything breaks. Well, not anymore. What we're going to go over solves all of that. It causes one little issue that we'll get into here in just a second, so I'm not going to wait until the end of the video to share that. But this is how I think computers should work, and I wish this was how they worked out of the box. But this one program can completely bring these two worlds together in a way that I didn't know was possible. But the instant that I saw it, I was like, God, this should be standard forever. So without any further ado, let's dive into it. Now, usually we are diving right into the Obsidian Vault, but here I want to show you where we're starting, which is Hookmark. This is the program that we're going to be using to make all your wildest dreams and imaginations a reality. So it has a 30-day trial for pro features, which I will be using, and I've already bought this outright, like I might have mentioned in the intro. And it's free for core features, which might be enough for you, but use the 30-day trial for all the features. Give it a free shakedown after that, and then see if you want to buy it back. But yeah, no credit card required, all that kind of stuff. So basically, go download this, install it. The big bummer, I wanted to wait till later, but I should tell you now, this is for Mac only. So if you're a Windows user, sorry, this only works on Mac. So if that's lost you, keep watching and then you'll see how powerful this is. And who knows, maybe you'll switch to a Mac operating system just for this. It really is that incredible. So with that out of the way, imagine you've downloaded it, you've installed it, you've given it the proper permissions, all that kind of thing. And then let's go to our vault and see how we're going to use it. So here's just the start of what it is. Because again, the old way is to go to Finder and then drag it in and drop in, oh right, example linking documents. There we go. Now that we've got a note open, we can drag and drop, and now this PDF lives in our attachments. But maybe we don't want it to live in our attachments because it lives in this folder and it currently lives in this folder. So the old way was that you drag it into your Obsidian Vault, then if you remember, go delete it from the original folder If not, then it's duplicate and it just eats up more and more of your hard drive space. So that's a hassle. So what if we could put the PDF in here without it having to go into the attachments? And that's what this is all about. So we will come into this note and delete that. And how about we delete it from our vault? And here's what we do. You highlight whatever it is, Control H, which is my shortcut to create hook marks. And now that it's open, we can click this, which is create a link to this PDF. And we drop it in here. And now it links out. So when I click that link, up pops the PDF and I can check it out here. And that is pretty darn cool. Now, I wonder if we embed it. Now, it doesn't look like I can embed it, but maybe we can solve that. I don't know. Hopefully we can, because in order for Hookmark to work properly, you do need to install an Obsidian plugin. So let's do that now. Command comma to go to community plugins, browse advanced URI, and then install, enable, and that should do it in terms of the other stuff that it needs to work properly. So we'll do that just to see if it will fix it. Bummer. No, it doesn't look like it. All right, so it won't embed quite like that, but we can still click it and open it, which is pretty gnarly. But I think I just closed Obsidian. That is the problem with using a whole bunch of hotkeys. Sometimes you can close it and you didn't mean to. Now, one of the big challenges that I found from the comments section was, well, what if I move the files around? Will it automatically update? And it doesn't from Obsidian. But what's neat is, well, Hookmark, the way it comes out of the box, will not keep track of the file if you move it around in your computer or out of your Obsidian vault or anything like that, because it will be a static link and then you can't ever move the attachment. Well, that's how it is already, so we want it better. Here's what we're going to do, which is go back to the Hookmark website, go to this page. I will have it linked in the description in this video, because not even the company that made this video that explains how to do this in a technical way, they don't link to this page. So it took me forever to find it. So I'm saving you 20 minutes already here. But the basic idea is that down here, you can see that the default way out of the box does all these things, but does not support reveal file in Finder or these other things. So basically, what we want are some commands right here. So this is the default setup, the way it comes out of the box. But if you want to use the advanced way of keeping track of it inside your Obsidian vault, you highlight this, copy it, and then open terminal, paste it in, hit enter. That's all you have to do. Amazing. You just used the terminal and command line interface like a hacker. Amazing. That's literally all you have to do. Now, what that does is it helps you if you've moved the file into your attachments, but then move it to a different file or folder inside your vault. But what if you want to keep it outside the vault and move it around and still let this link to the file? Well, That's why we're going to go back here and link directly to the file. So we want this hook file version right here. So just highlight this, copy, go back to terminal, and then hit Command V to paste it in, hit enter. And now Hookmark will track the file no matter where it goes. If it's in your Obsidian Vault, if it goes from Obsidian Vault 1 to Obsidian Vault 2 back to some file folder on your machine that's not associated with Obsidian at all, it'll still work. So now that we've got this, let me show you what I mean. So back here, we can open the link and there it is. Well, let's go to Finder and then move the file to another folder. So now it's in a different directory. If we had a static link to the entire file path where it used to live, then this would break. But since it's keeping track of where that file lives, because that's what Hookmark is doing behind the scenes, is making sure everything is where it's supposed to be. And if not, it keeps track of where it went. So it's always up to date. So the same way that Obsidian keeps track of where the notes go and automatically updates the link mentions that you can set in your settings as, yeah, I want that to happen. This is exactly like keep track of all those links, no matter where I put it, but for your whole operating system file folders. It's fantastic. So now you can create these links to the files, still put in all the meta information so that you can find it. So now you're storing all these clues to yourself in Obsidian. So you're using Obsidian to find the link that is always pointing to the file, no matter where it is in your system, without having to duplicate your files, without having to drag them into your attachments folder, which is pretty cool. But wait, there's more. This is where we're getting into the territory of, hey, why doesn't my computer just do this already? Why hasn't it worked this way from day one? Because there's all sorts of stuff that you can link to that's not files. For example, check this out. If you go to Mail and Typeform, I signed up for it for a while, but I never use it. But okay, this is an email account that I felt comfortable showing on video to tens of thousands of people. So if you are trying to keep track of an email, typically you'd have to screenshot it or copy and paste the text or all that kind of stuff. Don't worry about it. Now we've opened this email. I'm going to create a link, and now that email, actually, let me just, because it's automatically going to include text, right? So it automatically invites that. So it includes the important details. So it's got the subject, the date from this email address to this email address. So then when you click on it, it goes straight to this particular email, and it could be this email in an entire thread. So now you can keep track of emails and all sorts of stuff. Now, I thought I could do this from maybe going here and copy and going here and then trying a link and then highlighting it and making it a link and pasting it in and see if that works. But see, it doesn't, because ideally, everything in your computer would have an address or a location that never changes so that you can make links between elements and details and elements of a file and and interlink everything on your computer with everything else. Like, that would be awesome. Like, what if Obsidian was your operating system? That kind of thing. So why doesn't a computer work like that anyway? Well, this is now the best workaround that you're going to find until somebody invents a completely new computer that makes that possible. Spoiler alert, somebody is working on that, and they're a buddy of mine, and I can't wait until that's real. But as soon as that's real, I'll shout it from the mountaintops. All right. So you can keep track of all of this stuff. You can keep track of emails. Let's look at another cool detail. And that is here in our files. Let's put that back. We'll go back in here and let's see. We'll bring up Hookmark again. And instead of just creating a link, let's click here and see what all of our options are. And how about we hook to new notes? And okay. Oh, well, it wants access to notes. Maybe I'll allow it. But you know what? I don't actually use notes all that much because I use Obsidian. So you know what? That's not going to help us. So instead of doing that, as we see in notes, we're going to open the settings gear right here and then open settings. Here's where you can really play around and dial it in perfectly. You can change the shortcuts. I like Control H. Nothing else in my computer was using that, so that's kind of cool. So I just kept it there. But then notes is that the templates and default is set to notes. But since we use Obsidian, let's make Obsidian the default. And here's what we're going to avoid, all right? Which is, let's leave this notes here and then go back through and do it a janky way. Because if we wanted to do a new note, but it does Apple Notes instead of Obsidian, what you could do on a case-by-case basis is hook to new, then see all the things that you could connect it to, and you see that Obsidian is one of them. So you double-click that, and then it creates a file from the name of the file that it's linked to. And when you click it, it opens up. Okay. So let's see if embedding that works. Nope. I want to work on this. When I figure it out, I'll make another video about how in the world to do this. But as you can see, it's kind of clunky to have to go Hookmark, click there, hook to new, then go to Obsidian, all that jazz. So we're going to make Obsidian our default. So to save yourself a lot of time, click on Settings, then go into Notes header up here, then come down here and choose Obsidian, and that's all you have to do. So now, when we go back and create a Hookmark, and then we say hook to new Obsidian, it creates a new page or a new note just like this. And now you can keep track of it however you like. One weird thing is that, yeah, it's a weird file name. So that's why I don't usually like that kind of direct create new Obsidian note from that interface. So that's why when I'm in Finder and I go here, Hookmark, and then just hit the create link so that I can take any text and do that, or just paste it in as a direct link and it's still working. So hopefully that distinction makes sense. Right. So now we can hook our emails, we can hook file folders, we can put all this stuff in here as a link in our Obsidian database, and it's all the benefits. It's now way more extensible because it's not just limited to embedding PDFs or images. We can now access files of any type, and We can access emails down to the exact email in a thread, and there's all sorts of extra stuff that you can do with this. So yeah, this is a complete transformation of how to use your computer, and I am really, really excited about this, and this is why I got the pro version. So I've got some other thoughts that I want to share with you, and I'll do that here on the good camera. So what do you think? Please just go try it out. I mean, you get 30 days pro version, use that all day, every day. Then once that expires, see what the free version does, move files around, see if it'll break it. If it does break it, then spring for the pro version. And what's really cool is that you can buy the pro version and then you get all the updates that they put out for a full year. You still have it after that. You just don't get the new fancy updates. So if you like the way that it works, then just keep it that way and you own it forever. It's just that you don't get those updates, right? So that's a good part of the ethos of owning your software, not being beholden to a whole subscription. Right. So that's pretty cool. I do want to mention that this wasn't sponsored. They didn't find me. They didn't tell me about it. A friend of mine knows that I love Obsidian, and I was trying to figure this out, and he's like, "Oh, you need Hookmark." So hats off to him. He is part of my super private community in Valeria City, which requires a whole bunch of stuff to get to. So good luck with that rabbit hole. But if you make it through there, then amazing. Welcome. I would love to see you there. And to that end, if you would just want to join the email list, cool, go do that at plusoncreator.com. And when you sign up for the email list, you'll get the always live spreadsheet of all the tools that I'm using. And right after I record this, I'm going to go update that spreadsheet with Hookmark. So that will be one extra detail. But that one spreadsheet could save you months and months of looking for all the tools that you would need as a professional content creator here on YouTube or as a graphic designer or whatever. I've got a lot of tools that I use. And if there's something missing, then shoot me a note and be like, hey, how do you do this? And I would be more than happy to share all of that with you. But again, do that at plusoncreator.com. You'll get emails and insights about how to make more money working with cooler clients and doing what you love to do, which I think is pretty darn cool. That's it for this video. The next video that YouTube thinks you should watch should be on the screen, and I will see you over there, or you could subscribe, make it YouTube official. But, in the meantime, always remember that if you can change your mind, you can change your life.